So now I'm with Scott Newell, the owner and CEO of Newell Recycling. Welcome back, Scott.
Well, good morning. I'm very happy to be here. I don't know how many of these conferences I've been to, but for, as you know, a long time.
Exactly. So you're again exhibiting and you're sponsoring the International Automotive Recycling Conference. We spoke last year. Give me an update on what you've been busy with this last year.
I've been very busy this last year. I've been traveling all around the world, but particularly in Europe. And I have really been surprised as I have visited many, many shredding plants as to the condition of those plants in terms of, I normally like to make speeches on world's best practice. And I have not found a shredder in Europe or the UK that is what I consider to be world's best practice. And I believe that is because for the last 5 years, there's been a very big emphasis on regulations and on separations and on achieving recycling rates. So I think that the operators of shredding plants have been concentrating on the separation systems, and I think they have neglected a bit some of the evolutionary changes that have been taking place inside of the shredder itself.
Right. So you're comparing to what you see in the US and perhaps even in Asia.
Yes. In the United States, we have a few plants that I identify as being world's best practice. And in China, we also have a large number of machines that I consider to be world's best practice. In China, we've sold about 70 machines, 22 of which are 10,000 horsepower or 11,000 horsepower. And each one of those plants is doing 1 million tons a year or more of scrap in one machine. So that's... Yeah, they're up to date.
Someone just joined.
So would Europe then be a place where you would see future growth for Newell?
I do. I see tremendous growth in Europe for several reasons. I think that the value and use of shredded scrap is being recognized. In the free market and the world, you see that now there are premiums for shredded scrap over cut grades. $50, even up to $100 a ton. So the free market is recognizing the value of shredded scrap, which brings me to an interesting point, I think. In the United States, we're shredding about 62% of the available scrap is shredded. In Europe, it's less than 50%. And I was shocked. In the UK, it's less than 35%. Why is that? Well, 2 or 3 reasons. The scrap is being exported from the UK, for example, in cut grades. And but as the value in use says that shredded scrap is worth more, I think we're going to be shredding a higher percentage. But what does that mean? A big part of what we're shredding in the United States that is not being shredded in Europe, particularly in the UK, are the heavier grades of scrap. The number 1 heavy melt. A lot of that miscellaneous scrap. I visit the plants in Europe, and I see one pile of scrap that we're going to shred, and then they have another pile over there somewhere that's too big, too heavy to go in the machines. But in the United States and China, we've gone to bigger and bigger and tougher shredders. The hammers are better designed, the rotors are better designed, so that we can actually shred heavier scrap. So that's how that percentage goes up.
So Newell has a solution for the European market?
Oh, yeah, my fearless forecast. And I have visited a lot of machines, and I have really a lot of interest on the part of existing operators. Because sometimes I'm asked to make a study. So I've been to a number of plants where I gave them a PowerPoint and said, this is evolutionarily changed, this is evolutionary change. And at the bottom line, I come to the point where I can sometimes say, this more modern shredders will process for about $5 per ton less direct operating cost. Now, that's a lot of money. You know, if you're doing 50,000 tons a year or 100,000 tons a year, in 10 years, you're talking several millions of dollars. So, yeah, I think there's a big movement toward upgrading, being more modern, taking advantage of the evolutionary changes that have been made.
So, Scott, your insight is always unique and valuable, and I wish you lots of good contacts here at the IARC 2024.
Well, we have met a lot of interesting people during these meetings. It has been fun to come back and see them again the second time and the third time and the 20th time. And yeah, I learn a lot also by being here. The presentations are always good, and they're always telling me what's going to happen next, which for me is invaluable because I'm trying to guide my company and my team to be ready for the next challenges.
Well, we're glad that you're happy, and we're very happy to see you again. Thank you very much, Scott.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate being here. Thank you.